welcome back to my channel. My name is Emily and I am the maker behind Magnus May Crochet. In today's video, we're going to be recapping my first ever market. For those of you that didn't see last week's video, this is going to be the first in a 4-part series looking back on my first year selling plushies at markets as I start to prepare for my second market season, which is starting this fall. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and follow me on Instagram and TikTok at the links in the description below. With that said, let's get started. This particular market was a 2-day juried craft fair, and for anyone who isn't a crafter or who isn't familiar with selling at local markets, a juried craft fair is one where you submit several photos of your work and the organizer or a committee will review those photos and evaluate the quality of your work, determine that you are in fact selling handmade items, and then also use those photos to make sure that they're limiting the number of crafters at the market who are selling the same or similar products. I think the organizer for this particular market did a really great job with that. At least for me, I think there was only one other Amigurumi vendor there, and we were selling very different style plushies. So hopefully that meant that we were both able to do a decent amount of sales. This market took place on a fairly busy road, which was great for generating organic foot traffic in addition to all of the marketing that the organizers did beforehand. You could also see it really well from the street, so people driving by could definitely notice it and stop by if they wanted to. The market was also in a really popular tourist area, so there were a lot of people and families driving around looking for something to do. In total, I brought 100 plushies to this market, which was a value of $2,092. I'm actually really surprised by how high that inventory value is because, as you'll see in a moment, my prices were pretty low. Like, I definitely did not price these plushies well based on the amount of time and labor that went into making them. Pricing your items, especially for your first market, is so difficult. You have no idea how the market's gonna go, who your customer base is going to be, and how much they're actually going to be willing to spend on handmade items. And for those of you that didn't see my last video, I was definitely operating this first year from more of a hobby mindset. Like, I was just looking to offload the inventory that had piled up in my apartment and maybe make a few dollars to spend on future yarn orders. So if you're watching this video because you are looking to start a small business, or you have a small business and are considering getting into selling at local markets, I probably wouldn't use my pricing as a guide, especially if you are hoping to generate enough income to actually pay yourself for your labor. Well, and this is a spoiler alert, I did make a decent profit from this market. It all ended up going into my business account to fund future expenses for this craft market season. So I didn't take any of that money for myself. With that little sidebar out of the way, let's get into the full breakdown of my inventory for this market. I'll also include all the pattern information in the description below in case you'd like to make any of these patterns for your own market. So for this market, I brought 3 baby dragons, and these were priced at $20 each. And this is a perfect example of what I was saying about my prices being really low and not reflective of the time and labor that went into them. There is a ton of sewing involved in making these baby dragons, so $20 is definitely not enough if you make these for your own markets. I brought 4 Beluga whales, and these were also priced at $20. 8 blossom turtles, and I had 4 color options for these turtles, and so I had 2 of each color option. And these are just sunflower turtles or flower turtles, whatever you want to call them. I just happen to refer to them as blossom turtles because I used the like blossom yarn from Michaels. I think Premier also sells it. And these were priced at $30. 4 clownfish, and I priced those at $15. 4 crabs, and these were priced at $12. 4 elephants, priced at $25. 1 fox, priced at $20. 4 hippos, priced at $20. 2 jumbo dragons. These were my showstopper pieces for the booth. So their job was essentially to just drive people into the booth and hopefully have them check out the dragons and then buy something smaller. And I will say they really did their job. People would come flying into the booth to check these dragons out, especially the green dragon. Everybody really was gravitating towards that dragon. I think it's probably because he was closer to the front of the booth and my purple dragon was in a back corner on top of some crates. But he was incredibly popular. Everyone would come check him out, give him like a hug, and then they'd start looking around the booth and purchasing, you know, the smaller, less expensive items. So if you are looking for a really great showstopper for your markets, I highly recommend these dragons. And I had them priced at $75. They were the exact same pattern as the baby dragons I mentioned before. So there is a lot of sewing involved with these. And if I make them again in the future, I will probably be pricing them much higher. I also brought 3 lions and I priced these at $25. 1 monkey priced at $20. 4 owls, and I just love these, they're so cute, and they were priced at $18. 4 penguins, and I sold these for $20. And not to spoil the results section, because I will give my best sellers later in the video, but I just have to give you a preview. These penguins flew off the shelf. Like, they were so popular. And that probably means that $20 was definitely not enough. I also had 3 polar bears, and these were priced at $20. I also brought 12 rays. I had 3 color options, and I brought 4 of each color variant, and these were priced at $15. The blue one in the front, the like dark blue, which unfortunately is a yarn that's now discontinued, that was the most popular color in the rays across all 3 of my markets. But they were overall a really popular item. At this market, I also had 4 seals priced at $18. I had 2 color options, as you can see. I brought 4 sharks, also at $18. 4 sloths for $18. And I hung them on this cute little jewelry tree, and I just thought they were adorable. I thought they were gonna sell out so quick, and I was completely shocked that none of them sold at this market. People commented on them left and right. They thought they were so cute, but then nobody would buy them. I also brought 4 snakes, and I had 4 different color options for these, but I unfortunately only remembered to take pictures of 2 of them. And these were priced at $15. I brought 10 of what I call my speckle turtles, and that's just because there's like speckle yarn on their shell. I had 5 different color options for these turtles, and I brought 2 of each color, and they were priced at $25. I also had 1 strawberry turtle for $30, 1 tiger for $25, a tweed elephant, and this is just called a tweed elephant because the yarn looked tweed and I didn't know what else to call him. And he doesn't photograph super well, but he is on the larger side, so he was priced at $30. I brought 4 whales, and I sold those for $25. The last items that I brought were 4 mini bees, and I sold those for $8, and 2 mini rays, also for $8. And I actually didn't have these when I started the market. I made all of them throughout the course of the 2 days, and as I would finish one, I would put it out on the table to be sold. That's everything that I brought to this market. As I mentioned, it was 100 plushies and they were valued at $2,092. The first day of the market was pretty windy. It was in a large open field, so there really wasn't anything there to block the wind. And it did start to rain a little bit. Thankfully, it was nothing too bad. I was able to just pull the tables into the tent a smidge, and that was enough to keep all the plushies dry. The one thing that I did have to do was I had to keep the tent walls down the entire day, which meant that you could only really see inside my booth if you were standing directly in front of it. So I didn't get to take full advantage of the fact that I lucked out and had a corner spot, but I didn't pay any extra to have that location, so it really wasn't that big of a deal. And I had a steady stream of foot traffic in my booth throughout the entire day. The second day was much better weather-wise. It was sunny throughout the entire day. I had the tent walls up. I felt much less closed off from the other vendors than I did the first day. It was, however, extremely hot that day, which normally I don't mind because I'm always cold, but it did start to wear on you by mid-afternoon after sitting out in the heat for most of the day. It was also much slower foot traffic-wise than it was the first day. As I think I mentioned, this was a really touristy area, so people were definitely taking advantage of the sun to get to the beach. It was also a Sunday, and a lot of people head home early to try and beat out the traffic. I didn't really mind that it was slower because it gave me a chance to kind of catch my breath from the first day where there was pretty steady stream of traffic coming into the booth. And it also gave me the opportunity to walk around the craft fair and see what some of the other vendors were selling, and also gave me the chance to talk with the other vendors and get to know them a little bit. Now for what you're probably all actually here for, the results. I've broken down my sales per day and also calculated my total sales and my profit for the entire fair. So on the first day, I sold 3 baby dragons, 1 clownfish, 3 crabs, 2 owls, 4 penguins, told you they were flying off the shelf, 1 polar bear, 4 rays, 2 seals, 4 snakes, 4 speckled turtles, 1 strawberry turtle, and 1 tiger. So for day 1, we sold a total of 30 plushies. On day 2, I sold 1 blossom turtle, 1 clownfish, 1 crab, 1 lion, 1 ray, 2 seals, 2 speckled turtles, 3 mini bees, and 1 mini ray. So that's a total of 13 plushies sold on day 2. So you can definitely see that the market was much slower on the second day than it was on the first. So overall, we sold 57 plushies over the course of the 2 days, which generated $814.94 in sales. I paid $47.94 in sales tax, $15.97 in credit card fees, and my booth fee was $180, which seems a little high, but it's actually pretty typical for my area. And it was a 2-day event, so I kind of look at it as it was $90 per day. And that gives us a grand total profit of $571.03 for my first ever market. I was really happy with how this market went. Being my first market, I had absolutely no idea what to expect, and I definitely didn't think that I would make over $500 in profit. I thought that it would take a couple markets, or even that it could take a few market seasons to really start getting the hang of selling at markets and be generating a decent amount of sales. I will say 2-day fairs are definitely exhausting, particularly when the second day is really slow like it was at this market. I was definitely mentally ready to go home by like early afternoon that second day. I think part of that was just I was starting to really crash from all the anxiety I had leading up to this event, being my first ever market and having absolutely no idea what to expect. I am so glad that I took the leap and signed up for this market though. It was really meaningful to be able to get feedback on my work. I had only been crocheting for about a year at this point, so I was really nervous that I was maybe selling too soon, that my work wouldn't be well received, or that it wouldn't be up to the standard that people were expecting. But everyone was so nice and really supportive. People were very complimentary, even if they weren't buying something. There were a bunch of people that came into the booth and really loved the plushies, but they just didn't have anyone to buy them for. But honestly, their feedback meant just as much to me. So my best sellers for this market were my baby dragons, my penguins, my crabs, my seals, and my snakes. All of those products sold out completely. Many of them sold out on the first day. And if you would like to see if that trend continues, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and check out next week's video where I'll be recapping my second market. That's all for today's video. Thank you all so much for joining me in recapping my first ever market. If you had a particular favorite plushie from this market, let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. You can also follow me on Instagram and TikTok at the links in the description. Next week's video is going to be another market recap video, and this time we will be looking at the second market I did during my first year selling plushies. Until then, thank you all again so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.